American Horror Story Season 12 has officially come to an end, and the finale highlighted that the franchise has a serious ending problem. The SAG-AFTRA strikes forced American Horror Story, Delicate to be split into two parts, and after the show returned from its hiatus, it struggled to stick the landing. While Delicate had some strong marketing and initial promise, American Horror Story Season 12's ending missed the mark, as Episode 9 proved to be a massive disappointment. There were some admirable individual performances throughout the finale, but Delicate's conclusion proved the franchise is lacking a finishing touch. Although the main storyline did get wrapped up, American Horror Story Season 12 left many unanswered questions and fell flat in comparison to the show's earlier seasons. The likes of Asylum and Freak Show had great endings, and even 1984 stood out with an impressive finale, but Season 9 was the last time the franchise nailed its conclusion. Since then, the show has suffered from a downward spiral, with Delicate being the latest in a series of failures. While a few poor finales could have been coincidental, Season 12 has proven that American Horror Story officially has an ending problem. American Horror Story Season 12 continues the franchise's ending problem. The franchise has struggled wrapping up its stories for 3 straight seasons. Season 12's underwhelming finale continued the franchise's troubling ending problem. Before COVID, American Horror Story's endings were still relatively inconsistent, but at least had a level of quality that made these conclusions satisfying. Season 9 actually had one of the show's strongest finales, with 1984's Final Girl becoming the season's highest-rated episode on IMDb. However, since the series returned from COVID, it has continued to struggle with its finales as they are consistently the worst episodes of each season. Delicate's finale earned a 3.4 IMDb rating, the worst-rated episode of the season and the main show's lowest-performing episode ever. This continued a worrying trend, as Season 10 and 11's climaxes were also the poorest-performing episodes of their respective seasons. Despite Season 10 being split into 2 separate stories, both Red Tide and Death Valley had disappointing finales which began this frustrating ending trend. Including both of Double Feature's endings, American Horror Story has had 4 terrible conclusions in a row, highlighting that there is something seriously wrong with the franchise's ability to finish its recent stories. This repeated failure has definitely become an infuriating aspect of the series and indicates that something has to change soon. American Horror Stories has also suffered from poor endings. The American Horror Story spin-off has struggled despite the individual story format. Alongside the main show's ending problems, the franchise's spin-off, American Horror Stories, has found it equally difficult to wrap up its stories. Whereas the main show usually has a full season to explore a concept, the spin-off only has a single episode, making this ending problem even worse. American Horror Story at least has the time to set up potentially interesting finales, but the spin-off barely gets a chance to present its idea before having to conclude. The show only has one 2-part story, meaning every other premise is introduced and concluded in less than an hour. Most episodes run between 40 and 50 minutes, giving audiences hardly any time to get invested in the story and characters. While some concepts utilize the short runtime well, most episodes have relatively disappointing reviews since there isn't enough time to make these ideas work. With American Horror Story Season 4 confirmed, the franchise clearly isn't learning its lesson. Unless Season 4 has more 2-part concepts, it will struggle to engage audiences in these short stories. Ultimately, this means American Horror Stories look set to continue the main show's mistakes, despite being designed as an alternative.